How's it going, everybody? My name's Andrew Kraus. Today I'm going to try to continue informing you all or helping you out with some music theory. Today's going to be the first video of many I hope to do, where I'm basically going to recreate songs that are quite popular and showcase some of the music theory principles that are going on in them. So without further ado, let's get at the session. Here we are in Logic. The song that I'm going to start the series with is The Scots by Travis Scott and Kid Cudi. Now, this song is in the key of C minor. I'll go into those notes and the chords. Let's just take a listen. Now, we're going to listen to my rendition of this. The mix isn't really like the point of this video. I was really focused on just recreating sonically or more like musically, compositionally speaking, the right notes from the piece. So let's go ahead and listen to this. This might still trigger the copyright. But anyway, I encourage everybody to go listen to the original song, but here is my rendition. What I would call the hook section, where you hear the title of the track, The Scots. You may recognize this from the intro, because it is basically the same thing, except with vocals. Here's our final hook. Again, this section, compositionally speaking, is the same. Words are different. This is going to go into our breakdown / like the synth solo. This next part was definitely sort of why I chose the song, and it was fun making this. Cool. So let's get after it. Mic dropped a little bit here. Like I said at the beginning, this track is in the key of C minor. Now, I'll link to my book at the bottom. If you've seen my videos before, you know that I'm here talking a lot about the principles for my music theory text, which is sort of written to help you write music just like this. So in that text, I say the most basic minor key is going to be our A minor scale. So what's basically happening there is, like, if I take all of these notes and I start on 8, you'll notice that these are all the different white keys from the scale. Now, if we were to take that A note and move it up to C, we would discover the different black keys that are in C minor. We'll find that it has actually 3 accidentals, 3 black keys. These will be flats. This is E flat, A flat, and B flat. That together gives us this scale. All right, cool. Now, where the different chords from the actual key, let's see if I can get my mic here, where the actual chords come from any scale, the diatonic chords are going to be skipping scale degrees. So that would be the first chord, or these 3 notes for the second chord, and we get the following chord progression. It is going to be a minor 1, a diminished 2, a major 3rd, a minor 4th, a minor 5th, a major 6th, and a major 7th. Gives us this. Cool. So let's dive into the song. Now, for the most part, let's look at a channel with our various chords. For the most part, we're using C minor almost this entire track. So the verses and most of the intros are all using a C minor harmony for the entire time. So it's pretty simple. Yeah, not much more than that, harmonically speaking, this song. Now, let's talk about this end section of the hook. All right. Now, talking about the chords, looks like we have a C minor. That looks to be a minor F, an F minor chord. That is the minor 4 chord. Then we're going to a B flat major. Nope, it's a G minor chord, so that's a minor 5. All right, so minor 1, minor 4, minor 5, back to, looks like the same chord we started on, minor 1. So we'd say 1, 4, 5, 1 progression. That sounds like this without our melodies. Won't sound like much, it's just the pad. Cool. All right, now let's move on to the melody. All right, so that first section, little cool grace note, we'd call it a really fast note, but we're going to E flat, F, D, F, E flat, F, D. So again, all these notes are in the key of our C minor. It's kind of interesting or different. We're not using the tonic at all in this. However, we're starting on the E flat. That is essentially our relative major of C minor, also the second note or the first additional note besides C in the C minor chord. Remember, that looked like this. Cool. So going on to the last part of the hook. Some of you that know your theory probably heard this, but we have an arpeggio. So those chords I mentioned, we basically have arpeggios of each of those. C minor, F minor, G minor, and then a fill. And that last part, that's 7-1 in terms of the notes from the scale. And again, those of you that know your theory, that is the minor 7th. So this track is in natural minor, not harmonic minor. All right, drums aren't really going to be the focus of this video, but essentially we've got a pretty standard simple beat here. Half time, so our snare's on the beat 3. Got those cool snare trills in the background. That was fun to make. Again, I'm just using default instruments, so default Logic instruments, and then on that snare I actually filtered that. Cool. So moving on, we get this additional instrument in the verses. That is this pluck. For the most part, it's just going 1, 5, 1, 1, 5, 1. 1, 5, 1 the whole time. Now I pointed it out in the second verse, but essentially that starts to change the second time when it repeats in verse 2. We get this cool secondary melody where it walks up the scale, just changes the notes A flat, B flat, and then it's back. Again, nothing outside of the notes I showed you in the beginning from the key of C minor. Cool. I guess I didn't talk about the 808. 808 super simple. It's just on the 1. We have that syncopation, or the 808 every other time. It doesn't hit on the downbeat, but it hits on the second quarter note. That's very common in the style. Also, any music that does that is kind of more fun to dance to. All right, cool. So let's jump ahead to the part that some of you have probably forwarded to, waiting for. Let's talk about this synth solo. So, pretty cool, pretty crazy. Not too much human element in there. I just drew in the notes. But let's talk about that first part. I guess instead of me humming it, you can hear it. All right, so that's a C minor arpeggio. We've used this chord the whole time, and we're basically, again, an arpeggio is a broken chord, so it's anytime we play a chord one note at a time. The notes from that chord was C, E flat, G, so there are no new notes written at all. It's just really the cool attack of the arpeggio. Start on G, end on G, so that's a little different than just starting on C. Cool, that takes care of this part. Cool. Now, this next part really showcases why knowing some of your music theory is super helpful, especially if you're in Logic or Ableton or FL Studio, any sort of DAW, where you are writing notes that the computer is going to be able to play. Our theory really comes into place. So we're basically doing a C minor scale, starting from C, going down C. One interesting thing that happens is we go all the way past 2 octaves, which would be here, of the C, so down to C, and we go 2 notes past to our A flat, and then we go back to G and run down the scale to C. Repeat G a couple times, run down, come back from F and G, and then climb up the scale, C, D, E flat, and then the minor 6, 5. Cool. So the methodology of where that comes from, a lot of this, like the reason this sounds cool to me is it sounds like a freestyled, improvised sort of solo. And any musician that's improvising a solo over a piece of music like this that uses a scale, in this case C minor, that musician, regardless of the instrument they play, as long as it's a tonal instrument, is going to rely on their scale knowledge as a starting place for how to improvise to that. So not that surprising, using our C minor scale. Cool, let's hear that whole section. So the one part I didn't talk about was this final section that's happening. So first of all, it's a sequence. Sequence is a pattern applied really to anything, but in music we also call it a sequence when we apply a pattern to a scale. This is going down from C minor, down 3 notes in a row, and then repeating the 3rd note and continuing to go down. That creates a cool sort of rotating placement of where you are in the music. And then finally we get some delay on that. It is a whole note delay, I believe, but then we also get a second line playing the exact same notes but starting halfway through. So that's like 2 people singing row 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 your boat in rounds or something like that. You can see that halfway through the first one the second one starts. So there's this kind of like interplay between the 2. Cool. So I think that covers all of our music theory principles from The Scots by Travis Scott and Kid Cudi. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email or leave a comment. As always, I'd appreciate a subscription. I'm going to continue to try to educate everybody on some music theory principles that are really applicable to those of you making current electronic music. As always, I'll link to my book below, and I hope this helped you. Let me know how I could do better, and I will see you guys next time. All right, cheers.